Today I'm going to be ranking every song on this new Iceage album for Love of Grace and the Hereafter. I discovered Iceage a few years back with their album Seek Shelter, which I wasn't really a big fan of, and so I mistakenly wrote them off as being like one of those pitchfork favorite bands that I just wouldn't be able to get any actual enjoyment out of. But then last year I heard that single that lead singer Elias Ronenfeld did with Dean Blunt, and I was a really big fan of that song. And then this year, once the singles for this album started dropping, I started to actually get really hyped about the album because I was really enjoying the singles. And now, after listening to this album, I gotta say, I am definitely going to be going back and checking out some of Iceage's earlier albums because, yeah, I was a really big fan of this one. Jumping into the track list, at number 12 is going to be Holy Water. This one is not bad, but it just felt like the most predictable and typical punk song on the album, so I didn't get as much out of it as most of the other songs. At number 11 is going to be True Blue. This song is not bad. It's got some sort of like country influence going on with like this warped pedal steel and some rim shots on the drums. Elias also gives one of his most impassioned vocal performances on this song. I just think that maybe a bit less tonal sloppiness from the instruments and the vocals, as well as maybe a stronger song structure, would have done the song a bit of good. At number 10 is going to be 1835. This one seems to be kind of a reflection on mortality and the general insignificance of individuals in the grand scope of history. Musically, it's not bad, but it doesn't really stand out, for me at least, in comparison to a lot of the other songs here. At number 9 is going to be Tender Blades, and despite the somewhat atonal guitars on this one, it is one of the most melodic songs here, and that contrast reflects sort of the contrasting nature of the lyrical themes. I mean, the song is called Tender Blades, which is already a contrasting statement. At number 8 is going to be No Fear. I don't have all that much specific to say about this one besides that the band sort of just keeps the ear candy going on this one, and I love it. At number 7 is going to be Lifetime, and this one features some lyrics seemingly written from the perspective of someone who is a bit older and wiser, speaking to someone who is younger and maybe more naive, and basically warning him, "Kid, get ready for a lifetime of beatings," which is inherently a very bleak statement on life to make. But I think that the very energetic, upbeat tone of the music on this one is sort of a clue that we are to take that statement with a bit more of a sense of humor and positivity. And number 6 is going to be Salve for Every Sore. This one has a bit more of a proggy feel that I love and reminds me a bit of like something I would have heard on the last Black Midi or Geordie Greep album, and it features some romantically centered lyrics. At number 5 is going to be Star. This one's got lyrics that seem to be describing a kind of ego death brought on by love. And with this one, I also just want to highlight Elias Ronenfeld's vocals, which are a big part of the appeal of this album for me. You know, his singing is often very off-tune and off-rhythm, and yet he just brings so much passion and charisma to his vocal performances that it more than makes up for that gap. And that is certainly the case for this song. At number 4 is going to be Mother of Pearl. This is one of the highest energy songs on the album, with some guitars that sound like they're maybe influenced by some classic southern rock. But the thing that stands out the most about this song for me are the lyrics, which are about a girl who has gotten pregnant. And Elias sort of colors in the story with all these details about her shitty party flat and her baby daddy who is just getting out of prison. And all this stuff that makes it easily one of the most lyrically interesting and focused songs on the album. At number 3 is going to be Matchhead Girl, and this is a bright and fast-paced highlight that has lyrics about someone who makes the world combust around you, and this memorable refrain of doo 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 doo. And number 2 is going to be The Week. The tune on this one feels almost hymn-like, but in this very weird and off-kilter kind of way. It even features these tuneless woodwinds towards the end that are just hilarious. The lyrics focus on the difficulty of showing vulnerability in a world full of aggression, with this amazing refrain of "life is for the weak" that just will get stuck in your head. But at number one is going to be Ember. And this was an amazing single. This was really the single that initially sold me on getting hyped about this album. It has this great anthemic quality to it, and lyrics detailing a very wild and unstable romance using all of these ship-related metaphors. Yeah, this one has been on repeat for me since I first heard it, and it's definitely going to be one of my favorite songs of the year. And that's what I have to say about this Iceage album. I really loved it, and I don't really have any major complaints about it. If you disagree with my list, make sure to tell me in the comments, and with that said, thank you for watching.